Hello and welcome to Living and Loving Each Day, Beyond Barriers, we're talking about. So, this podcast brings you inspiring stories and expert insights and supportive community focused on any kind of challenges that we face in our day to day lives. My name is Sue Jansen, and I'm so glad that you joined us today. And in each episode, we shine a light on journeys of people who inspire me personally. And this lovely lady today is Linda Smith. And I just wanted to introduce her to you and for her to be able to share what she's doing. So she's a true pioneer in the world of holistic health and healing. So her name is, like I said, Linda Lee Smith. She's a remarkable holistic nurse, entrepreneur with a wealth of knowledge and certifications in energy healing, aromatherapy, and transformational life coaching. So Linda's impact on the world of healing is profound. And as an author of over 30 books on energy healing, like that's a lot, her expertise has touched countless lives. And it doesn't stop there. She's currently working on her latest book, and she's going to tell us all about that today. And about her, she's a founder of the Institute of Spiritual Healing and Aromatherapy, an institution where she's taught her life-changing work to people all over the globe. So her passion is healing and is matched by her heart. And she's married to the love of her life, she says, and in beautiful Southern California. No, and you're in South Carolina. My apologies. So in today's episode, yeah, we're going to just talk more about what Linda's doing, and we just want to welcome you. Thank you for being here, Linda. Great to have you.
Thank you so much, Susan.
Awesome. This is exciting. We knew each other from before, and I'm so glad to have you as my guest today. And I just want to introduce, like I've introduced you officially. So now just please tell the audience, like how did you get here? Like, what's your story and what's on your heart? Like what you're passionate about today.
Well, this has been a long, long journey. I started my career out as a high-tech nurse. I did ICU, CCU. I even did a stint in emergency room nursing. And all that did was create a lot of stress in both my emotional body and in my physical body. And I eventually left that kind of nursing. And of course, you progress and become a nursing administrator. And I ran home healthcare agencies and then hospices. And along the way, got a few advanced degrees. And I thought that that was going to be my life's work. And
Yeah.
if that's all you have to do is tell God that's what you're going to do. And God might have a different opinion.
And different time frame too, right?
Exactly, exactly. And so I recall very distinctly being invited to go to a holistic nurses retreat in the Rockies. And there I met this phenomenal woman by the name of Janet Menken, who was starting a brand new program called Healing Touch. And I thought, oh, okay, that's one of those touchy-feely things. I'm a nursing administrator. We don't touch people. We pay people to touch people. And to make a long story short, I ended up becoming the first administrator for the Healing Touch program. And I was teaching Healing Touch all over the United States.
Mhm.
Now, part of my background is that before I came to all of this, I had been a nun for 27 years.
Whoa, that's a whole other story we have to talk about. Like if you can squeeze that in here, and wow.
That's way past history.
Okay.
And so the reason why I brought that in was because as I taught, more and more people would say to me, how does this stuff fit with my faith? Or how do I talk to the minister about this stuff, this hands-on healing? And at first I would just answer. And then I thought, how come everybody keeps asking me this? And they said, oh, because you're more spiritual than the other teachers. And I went, uh-oh, you don't put your own stuff in somebody else's curriculum. So I sat down with Janet Menken and I said, if we could just tweak the language a little bit, this would go over really well in churches. And eventually I left Healing Touch and I started my own program called the Healing Touch Spiritual Ministry Program, in which we focused on reframing the scientific language into what's biblically present, and that is the laying on of hands.
Yeah.
And and then someone challenged me and said, "Well, you're not doing enough in your program." And I thought, "What?" Because by that point I'd already written a book and it was very successful, and that one was called "Called into Healing."
Okay.
And she said, "Well, you'd also be anointing." And I went, "Oh, what does olive oil have to do with healing?" And that was my ignorance. And to make a long story short, I did a lot of research and started a brand new certification program called, it was the Institute of Spiritual Healing and Aromatherapy Certification in Clinical Aromatherapy.
Wow. Okay.
And I ended up teaching that all over the world. I taught 5 years in Italy, 8 years in Australia. And when I was approaching my 70th birthday, I said, "I'm done." At that point, I had written nearly 40 books, most of which were actually on aromatherapy. And I said, "There's not another book in me," I thought. And
Wow.
so I said, "There's nothing else I have to contribute to this work." And so I gave it away. I gave the whole thing to one of my instructors and I said, "Take it to the next level." And I moved on, sold my home in Colorado, and I
Ah.
wanted to move someplace warm, and I moved to Florida. I get down there, and after 3 months, I looked around and I thought, "I'm not a beach person. What the heck am I doing in Florida? I'm a mountain girl." And so I actually became extremely depressed and lonely for the first time in my
Oh.
life. I thought, "What am I going to do with my life?" And I felt like I was at a crossroads, and that surely something was going to drop in. Well, it
Mm.
did. And what dropped in was I listened to actually a podcast, an interview. This guy was in Canada, was interviewing a transformational leader by the name of Mary Morrissey.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course.
And
Yeah.
I was so taken with that. I went, "Oh my gosh, I want to learn from this woman." And so I not only went to one of her 3-day courses in Dallas, but I signed up for her top coaching program because I thought I needed a lot of help. And the
Wow.
first thing I did was I visioned finding the love of my life if he existed. Now,
Yes. And this,
praying
so
for me.
just give us the chronological order here now. So how old are you now?
I'm
Like,
71
no,
and
no.
I had never been married. And I
Okay.
thought, well, I've tried a lot of things in life. I wonder what that would be like to have a partner or a companion.
Yeah.
Didn't
That
take me
is,
very long and I found him.
ooh.
And his wife of 40 years had died the year before, and he was at that stage of facing extreme loneliness.
Mhm.
And we met actually through one of those vetted dating services
Oh,
where
good.
it was a blind date,
Yeah.
and we hit it off immediately. Well, I said, there's two things in my life that are very important and that I have no intention of letting go of.
Mhm.
One of them was my work with Young Living essential oils,
Mhm.
and the other was my work with Mary Morrissey. So he didn't know anything about essential oils, so I said, "Go and learn." And so he went, checked it out on the websites, and came back and said, "Okay, I think I'd like to learn more about this."
Cool.
And so I showed him, how to do that. And then he said, "Well, I want to learn." So I thought, well, I'm not going to teach you. I sent him to one of my instructors who used to work for me. And I said, "Go and learn from her." And he became certified aromatherapist.
Good.
And
Wow.
then the other thing was I said, I want to introduce you to Mary Morrissey. Now I said, I just want you to know what I'm into. I don't care if you ever do any of this again, but that would be your choice.
Okay. I hope the ladies are listening in this. This is good advice. You're
And
not trying to
so
push.
I
You don't,
actually to back up a piece, we had dated about 6 months, and I had to go off to Australia for 6 weeks to teach my last teaching gig. And every day we Skyped.
aw,
And that's when I really fell in love with him.
yeah, I bet.
And about 2 weeks before I was to come home, it's 6:30 in the morning for me, it's 6:30 at night for him. And we were just about to end the call when he all of a sudden said, I just want you to know why you've been gone. I've been very busy.
Oh,
And I immediately went to ring. Now, don't ask me why, but I just knew in my heart of hearts he was going to ask me to marry him. And at
ah,
that point, I was like, I was going to say yes. And so when I came home, it was 2 days before my birthday, and he had made arrangements actually at the restaurant where we met,
aw.
and there were roses on the table. And my first thought was, there had better be more than roses.
That's good.
And he proposed, and of course I said yes. And the next day we were on a plane to go to a Mary Morrissey 3-day event. Now, because I'm in one of her VIP programs, I'm sitting fairly up front. And as she came out on the stage, I did this, and she spied it and broke protocol and came down off the stage and called the cameras and the mic over. And I thought poor Rich was going to faint. And so she made us both stand up and tell the story. And then she takes my hands and she says, ladies, this stuff works.
Isn't that great? What a great testimony that is.
Well, he disappeared shortly after that. And I thought, oh gosh, this was a little too much. Oh no, he was at the back table signing up to get into one of our programs.
Oh, good.
Eventually became a certified transformational coach.
Wow.
And because he became a coach, I looked at that again and I went, I think I want to do that too. So we both became certified through Mary Morrissey's Brave Thinking Institute.
Wow.
And, and both of us have been coaching individuals. And what we have noticed
Yeah.
as we work with people
Mhm.
that we tend to attract people who kind of look like us, people who are a little bit older or who are at that transitional stage in life where they're wondering what the next step is.
Yes. Yes.
And so that really led us to um, develop more programs that are geared towards people who are at that transitional stage and they're saying, I've accomplished this or I've accomplished that, or I've been downsized, or I've lost my spouse through death or divorce, and I
So many.
don't know what
Mhm.
the next step is. And so that's who we really work with and try to help through that process because we've both gone through it ourselves.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
working together, like that's something that's really so commendable. And it's also kind of I think there's a lot of couples who wish that they had the same alignment. And so they could do things together, you
Oh,
know?
it is. It is. And,
Mm.
we both work from home. This is my office in here. His office is directly across the hall.
Yeah.
And so, it's like we share a lot. I have a couch in my office, and he'll come in and sit there, and we discuss, you know, things that we want to do to be able to be of service to other people.
Oh,
And then
good.
I have to tell you that we've gotten ourselves, we continue to grow. So we're in a number of different
Mhm,
programs right now where we are learning. And
mhm.
one of them was to learn how to do a TEDx talk.
Ah,
Well, guess what? We've just gotten a gig to do a TEDx talk in Stockton, California for the University of the Pacific next April.
well, congratulations. That is so, and so you're going to speak together. You're on stage
We're,
together?
we're speaking together. And
Awesome.
that's very unusual for a TEDx
TEDx.
venue
That's
to
right.
look for two speakers.
Yeah,
So
because usually you're
basically, we're going to use our story, our love story, as a backdrop
good.
for how we reach out and help people at the crossroads of life.
Awesome. So that the crossroads don't have to be negative, they can be very positive.
That's
That's
right.
the point. That, and we have to get that control, don't we? Like, well, those are the choices that we make to make that positive. That's so
Yes.
exciting. I'm so happy for you guys.
Hmm.
That's awesome. So tell us what kind of in the coaching that you do. So if people contact you, what's your method or your, how does that work? Like, what's the process of setting them up to
Right,
get coached?
right, right. Well, what we uh, when people hear about us or are intrigued, oh, by the way, we've become TikTokers.
Oh, I love it.
And so the messages that we're putting out on TikTok are attracting more and more people. And we tell them all the same thing: go to our website, click on contact us, and get on our calendars.
Yeah,
So our 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 website is transformational wellness services.com.
good.
Transformational wellness services, all one word,
Mhm.
.com. And when they get on our calendar, what we do is we give them a free, what we call strategy session. And it's about 45 minutes in which basically we're looking at, what is it that you're looking for, or where are you in life?
Yeah.
And then we help them to say, okay, put that aside. Now, what would you really love for your life? And I
Hmm.
help them to vision for 3 years in the future. What would they love in the area of either health and well being, or relationships, or career?
Wow.
And then they'll, and I have them just off the cuff tell me what their life looks like
Yeah.
in 3 years from now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and then I say, okay, all right. Now the question is, how to get there?
Yeah.
And it's not a, climbing to it.
No.
You have to get on the vibrational frequency of where that vision is and come from the
Hmm.
frequency of that vision. And
Oh,
that's where coaching is very valuable.
very valuable. That
Yeah.
to help
So,
those people make those steps towards that goal.
right.
That's amazing. Do you come on the screen together, like the two of you coach together, or do you take turns?
No, no. I have my clients, he has his clients.
Okay. Okay. Just wanted to ask about
Right,
that.
right.
Yeah.
And but we also have another VIP program
Mhm.
that is group coaching, and that's where both of us are, the experts on the cause. And sometimes I take the lead, sometimes he takes the lead.
Cool. And no squabbling. You guys are getting along so well, right? You're
Yeah,
newlyweds, for heaven's sakes. That's awesome.
we've
That's
been
so
married now 7 years.
7 years. Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing that whole story. I mean, that just, we always talk about transitions and ending one thing and starting another thing, but that's just opens the doors that this is such a positive thing that if you and the choices that we make determine that outcome.
Mhm.
And then you're there to guide people on making that transition to attain their goals. That's amazing. Thank you so
Mhm.
much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, the all that website is in the program notes, so please take a look at that. And Linda, I just want to thank you so. And you were saying it's the most popular name in the States, Linda Smith. But I want to thank you so much just for. It was so nice connecting with you a few months ago when we were working together. And I'm just so happy and honored that you're on the podcast today. Thank you so much for your beautiful words and your enlightening. I mean, just the positive. We've got so many wonderful things to look forward to, no matter how old we are. Age has got nothing to do with this. So I'm so happy that you guys are doing well and that you can share that with us. So thank you so much for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in today. Go to suejansen.ca and you can let's connect there. You can ask me any questions if you'd like to be a guest on my podcast, or I'd love to just have some connection. So like Linda says, go to the website and register and subscribe. And then we can be in touch. So everybody, thank you for joining us today. Linda Smith, you're a beautiful guest. Thank you so much. So appreciate you. And I know that wonderful things are just going to keep coming to you. That won't stop. I'm well aware of that. So again, thank you everybody for being here. And thanks for tuning in.